Hello everyone, welcome to Learn DAX channel. My name is Siddesh, and in this video we are going to discuss how do you calculate the top N sales that have occurred over the last X number of months. So in my previous video I have discussed how do you calculate the top N sales for the last X number of days. In this we have changed the data set slightly so that the data set, instead of running through just the number of days in a month, it's running from the month of August 2023 till the month of May 2024. So this gives us a spectrum of data which has been distributed over over a period of months rather than just a period of days, which helps us to calculate the top sales that have occurred over a period of months. Now, just like in my previous video, I am going to use a DAX that I have sourced from the internet and trying to break down how that DAX works. There's one additional thing that I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to create a date table. So if you have not yet created date table, then this can be a good refresher how to use the calendar function to create a date table. I have already created a video on how to use the calendar and calendar auto function, and I will leave the link in the description, and I encourage you to take a look at that video as well. Besides, I would also encourage you, if you haven't watched it yet, to take a look at my video about top N sales in the last X days. After watching this video, it will be very easy to relate to this and understand the same. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So first thing is I'm going to create a date table. So I'll just go to modeling. I'll select new table, and since our data runs from the 1st of August 2023 till 20th of May 2024, I think we should make a date table starting from January 2023 till December 2024. So I'm putting in two arguments where I'm mentioning the year, month, and day. So that just quickly creates our date table. Now, what we're going to do is in our data model, I'll just join this date table to the sales table via the column, which is date and the sales date. While we can actually achieve our DAX without even using the date table, but it's a good practice to have a dedicated date table. It just helps in some time intelligence functions can kind of break or throw an error. So it's a good practice to have a dedicated date table in our data model. And let's take a look at the data set that we have. So we have dates running from the 1st of August 2023 till the 20th of May 2024. And we want to calculate the top three sales that have occurred over a period of last 3 months, which means given my last sales date, which is the 20th of May 2024, I want to find after 20th of Feb 2024, what were the top three sales, which means my last date is going to be 20th of May, and the reference date from where I'm going to compare is going to be 20th of Feb 2024. So in order to get that, I have created these two measures. The first is the last sales date, which is going to give me the max of the sales date in the sales table. And if I quickly pull this onto, if I quickly just pull this onto this canvas and convert it into a card, this is what I get. So yeah, we can just simply verify that it is considering the correct date as the last sales date. And if I want to calculate the sales date, the start date, now in case of the video in which we are calculating the top N sales for the last few days, we would just subtract the number of days. But here we cannot do that. So there is a function dedicated in DAX for that, which is called the edate function. So if I pull up the documentation, I have this syntax as edate, and you have two arguments. The first is the start date and the number of months. So let's say I am in the month of February and I want to go back 1 month. So I'll put in the start date, which could be, let's say, 1st of Feb, and I want to go back in Jan. So I'll just put -1 because that backtracks it to the previous month. And if I'm in February and I want to go ahead in March, then I just put +1 or just 1 rather. And so on and so forth. Like if you put +1, +2, +3, it goes by 1, 2, 3 months respectively. And if I put -1, -2, -3, it will go back by those many months. So in our case, since we want to go back by 3 months, I'm going to use edate. The start date is going to be the max date in this case, and we are going to use -3 as the number of months. So if I quickly pull up that measure, the first argument is the last sales date, and the second argument is -3, which should give us 20th of Feb 2024. So if I quickly pull that and check if the assumption is correct, I will just replace this with the start date, and yes, we can verify that the start date is going to be 20th of Feb 2024. I'll remove this, we don't need it right now. And let's focus on the DAX that we are using. So like in my previous video, I already have the DAX. I'm just going to break it down. So the first variable that we are going to declare is the max sales date, which we are sourcing from the sales table, which is going to be the max of the sales date in the sales table, which is 20th of May. The start date is again 3 months behind my last sales date. So in this case, it will be 20th of Feb 2024. Now this is the part where it's calculating the top three values. So in the top n function, I am giving the first argument as the number of values that I want. But from what? Like, give me some table from which I can source those values. So this filter function is going to give us that resulting table. And based on what should I actually calculate what are the top three values? Well, it's based on the top three sales, which means the sales amount. So this argument tells it that based on the top sales amount using this particular table, give me the top three sales and sort them in descending order. Now, please note that when I'm going to drag this table on my visual, it may not sort it in descending order. And you can even look up in the DAX documentation on top end, it's mentioned even in there that you may not necessarily get the sort order even if you mention descending in here. So if you want to sort it, you can just manually sort it using the seeker. Like for example, in this arrow, if I click on this arrow, I can just sort it based on the descending order. So yeah, we can just use that. So let's get on with understanding how the DAX is working. So first is I'm declaring these two dates and it's feeding to the filter function. Now in order to understand the filter function, let's head over to Excel where I've created a sheet which can simplify things further. So if I go to Excel and I have this table, same table that I have in Power BI, and I want to see which are the top three sales that have occurred. So what the filter function is going to do is we are feeding it the sales table and it is going to compare iteration by iteration all these dates, and it is going to compare these dates with the start date and the last sales date. So let's start with the first iteration. In the first iteration, I have the date as the 1st of August 2023. Now, is it greater than or equal to my start date, which in this case is 20th of Feb 2024? No, it isn't. We are still in 2023 and we haven't yet reached 2024. So I can simply write here as false. Now, when I go to the second iteration and the third iteration, again, 15th of August 2023 is not greater than or equal to 20th of Feb, since it's an AND condition. Even if the first condition turns out, even if the second condition turns out to be true, it's still going to return me false. So until I reach to the point where the date in my iteration is exceeding this date, I'm always going to get false, which means the filter is not going to consider those values and filter that table. So if I go to the table and I just check these iterations, I find that until the 6th of March, I'm not going to get any positive outcome. So I can literally drag this false right up to this point, and beyond this point is where the 6th of March 2024 is greater than 20th of Feb. Also, the 6th of March is less than 14th of July 2024, which means all the iterations preceding iteration 15 are going to return me true, or in other words, from here on, we are going to get the table, and the table is going to get filtered based on these dates. So if I enlarge, if I kind of expand, what we are going to get is this particular table. So if I have to show that in Excel, I'll just unhide a few columns, and there you have it. So this is the table that we are going to get effectively. I think, wait, not that one. Yeah, this one. This is the resultant table, which we'll take a look at the end. So I'll just hide this quickly. Yeah. So this is the table that we get as the resultant of the filter function, which is going to be now fed to the top n function. So what top n function will do, the first argument is 3. So it has to find 3 values. On what basis? On the basis of sales amount. And that's what you've declared in DAX. The first 3 values using the resultant table, using the sales amount. On that basis, you have to give me the top 3 values. So if I go back to Excel, now the top n function is going to use this particular table, and based on the sales amount, it is going to give me the top 3 values, which then turns out to be Yeah. So these are the three values that I get. The first is my, so these are the three values, 1000, 670, and 950. While these are not sorted in that order, but these are the three resultant values that I should get. So if I go to Power BI and check what are the values that I've got in that table, I'll quickly pull all those fields and just check if I'm getting the correct output or not. So I just change the order a little bit. I just want the sales date. I don't want it to summarize. I just pull this here quickly. Sale ID can go at the top, product category, product name. Yeah, and I don't think I need the sale it, but yeah, I'll keep it anyways. So if I take a look at the dates beyond 20th of Feb from 6th of March, so these are those dates, and I can clearly see that 950, 670, and 1000 are the top three values, and this is exactly what we're getting from the top n function, 1000, 670, and 950. And if I want to sort them in descending order, I can just simply click this and I can get them sorted in descending order. So this brings us to the end of this demonstration, and the purpose of this video was to use a very simple data set and try and understand how the top n function would work in a very simple use case scenario. In real world projects, the scenario may not be as simple, but the intention of this demonstration is to just do things at a very simple and granular level, and then to use these fundamentals to apply the same rules and logic to more complex situations. Uh, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you found any value, please share it with your friends. If you have any feedback for me, please let me know in your comments. And like I say at the end of every video, thanks for watching and happy learning.